There's a moment in every warrior's life, a moment when the road darkens, when breath turns sharp, when fear whispers louder than purpose. Most men retreat, a rare few continue, and an even smaller number discover the ancient principle the Japanese warriors called eternal determination, the fire that does not burn out, the will that does not bend, the presence that does not scatter. Our story follows one such seeker, not a hero, not a legend, just a young man standing at the edge of his own becoming. He comes to an old mountain temple, carrying more questions than strength, more doubt than discipline. Here, under the guidance of a quiet master, he will confront the shadows within, his ego, his fear, his restless spirit, and learn the ancient system that shaped warriors who never broke. This is not a tale of victory. It is a tale of alignment, when a man stops running from the world and begins walking the path carved by his own spirit. Silence will challenge him. Failure will refine him. Presence will rebuild him. And in the end, he will discover what the warriors knew. Determination is not a flame. It is a mountain. Chapter 1, And the Mountain That Watches. The climb began long before Hiro touched the first stone of the mountain path. It began in the quiet collapse of his spirit months earlier, the sleepless nights, the restless heartbeat, the constant sense that something inside him was slipping away. Men often believe their journeys start with a choice, but in truth, they begin with a breaking. The morning mist curled around his legs as he ascended, wrapping the trail in silver. Every breath stung with cold. Every step echoed with the question he feared most. What if I never become the man I'm meant to be? Hiro tightened the strap on his pack. He had heard rumors of the mountain temple, a place where warriors learned not the art of killing, but the art of mastery. They said the master there could see through a man's words, through his posture, even through the shield of confidence he pretended to wear. That frightened Hiro, and yet it pulled him closer. The path grew steeper, the air thinner. Somewhere above, the temple waited like a patient guardian. Presence begins with exhaustion, the old text had said. Only when the body tires does the mind lose the strength to lie. By the time Hiro reached the final ridge, his legs trembled. Ahead, carved into the cliffside, stood the temple, not grand, not decorated, just stone walls, weathered by centuries of wind. A single lantern burned at its door. Its flame barely moved. Inside that stillness, Hiro felt his heartbeat pounding like a drum of war. He stepped through the wooden gate. The courtyard was empty except for one man sweeping slowly, as if the world around him moved in a different rhythm. His robe was simple, his posture relaxed, but there was something in his presence, a gravity, a quiet intensity that made Hiro straighten instinctively. The man did not look up. "You must be Caden," Hiro said, bowing awkwardly. Silence, only the sound of the broom across stone. The master's gaze finally lifted, not toward Hiro, but toward the mountain behind him. "Sit," Caden said. "Where?" Hiro asked. Caden pointed at a small slab of stone facing the wide horizon. "That is your first lesson. Sit, observe." "That's all?" "That is everything." Hiro lowered himself onto the cold slab, confused. He expected drills, discipline, maybe even a lecture on warrior virtues. But instead, the master walked away, leaving him alone with the mountain and the sound of wind between cedar trees. Minutes passed, then many more. At first, Hiro was attentive, watching clouds drift, watching mist unravel below. But soon his thoughts erupted. What am I supposed to see? Is this a test? Why am I just sitting here doing nothing? His knee bounced, his jaw clenched. The silence felt like it was crushing him. The mountain stared back at him, immovable, ancient, unbothered by his impatience. That's when Hero noticed something unsettling. The only thing causing chaos in this still world was him. The wind wasn't anxious. The crows weren't restless. The mountain wasn't doubting its purpose. Only he was. It struck him with a clarity sharper than steel. His entire life had been noise, internal storms masquerading as ambition. He didn't climb the mountain for strength. He climbed it because he had never once been truly present. And presence, he realized, was not peace. It was confrontation. Behind him, Caden's voice broke the quiet. "The mountain watches," the master said, "not to judge you, but to show you yourself." Hero swallowed hard. For the first time, he understood why warriors sought this place. This was not training of the body. It was the stripping of illusions. And the mountain missed nothing. Chapter 2. The mirror of fear night settled over the temple like a veil of ink, and with it came the first true trial. Hero followed Master Caden through a narrow corridor lit only by oil lamps. Their flames flickered in long, trembling shapes along the walls, shadows stretching like memories trying to crawl free. The deeper they walked, the colder the air grew. "This hall," Caden said softly, "is where warriors meet themselves." Hero felt the words coil inside him. They entered a chamber carved directly into the mountain's heart, its walls covered in faded ink paintings of warriors kneeling before storms, beasts, and dark shapes with human eyes. Each painting felt alive, as though it had been waiting centuries for someone new to witness it. "What is this place?" Hero whispered. Caden's voice remained calm. "A mirror, not of the body, of the spirit." Hero's chest tightened. Caden motioned for him to sit on a worn tatami mat. "Before strength can grow," the master said, "fear must speak." Hero lowered himself slowly. His hands trembled with a truth he didn't yet understand. Caden sat across from him, their knees only inches apart. He studied Hero with the patience of an ancient stone. "Tell me," Caden said, "what do you fear?" Hero tried to hide behind the easy answer, "Failure." Caden did not blink. "You fear something deeper than that." Silence swelled between them. Hero looked at the floor. Words tried to surface. His throat resisted. Caden continued, "Most men fear failing in the world, but the warrior fears failing himself." The sentence pierced him. Hero felt heat behind his eyes. He wasn't afraid of losing. He was afraid of discovering that he had never been enough to begin with. Caden saw the truth forming. "You fear you are weak," the master said quietly. "You fear your potential is a lie. You fear the mountain will see you and find nothing." Hero closed his eyes, not to hide, but because the truth hurt with the precision of a blade. The master's voice softened. "Good." Hero opened his eyes in confusion. Caden explained, "Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the message. It tells you where the ego still clings, where the spirit still hesitates." As Caden spoke, Hero felt his breath shortening, as if fear itself was tightening its hold. The master leaned closer. "Let it rise," Caden said. "Do not fight it. Do not escape it. Watch it, like the mountain watches storms." Hero inhaled shakily. Caden blew out the lamp. Darkness swallowed everything. And suddenly Hero felt it, a tidal wave of memories, doubts, and buried failures crashing through him. Images of times he quit early, Moments he hid behind excuses, days he pretended he was fine while feeling hollow. The darkness made every flaw louder. His heartbeat thundered. His palms went cold. He felt like he was sinking into some inner abyss. Caden's voice cut through the void. "What do you see?" "My weakness," Hero whispered. "No," Caden said. "That is only the shape fear takes. Look deeper." Hero tried. Through the chaos, through the trembling, through the ache in his chest, he saw something. Not weakness, not failure. A younger version of himself, a boy who once believed he could be anything before the world taught him doubt. Caden's tone shifted, gentle but unyielding. Fear is not proof of weakness. Fear is proof that something within you is worth protecting. Hero breathed out a shaking exhale. For the first time, he felt fear not as an executioner, but as a teacher. Caden lit the lamp again. "Hero," he said, "you cannot master the world until you can sit in the presence of your own fear without flinching." The boy looked up, eyes still wet but steadier. Tonight he had not defeated fear, but he had endured it, and that was the first cut in the stone of transformation. Caden stood and extended a hand. "Rise. The training begins now." A new fire sparked inside Hero, not confidence, but clarity. For the first time, he understood the path. To become unbreakable, he must first become honest. Chapter 3, The Path of Unbroken Steps. Dawn rose like a blade of pale gold sliding across the temple stones. The air was crisp, almost sharp, carrying the faint scent of cedar and winter. This was the hour when the world still whispered, and when discipline began. Hero stood in the courtyard, breath fogging in the cold morning light, waiting for Master Caden. He expected intensity, drills, sweat, exertion. But Caden arrived quietly, as always, walking with the unhurried certainty of a man who understood that strength was not in speed, but in rhythm. "Hero," Caden said, handing him a wooden training sword. "Today you will learn the most difficult technique a warrior can practice." Hero straightened, ready. Caden pointed toward a small circle drawn in the dirt. "Step into the circle." Hero obeyed. "Now," Caden said, repeat the first stance of the ancient form again and again until I say stop." Hero blinked. Just a stance? One movement? It felt absurd. He had faced fear in a dark chamber, felt his soul cracked open, and now he was being told to repeat a simple step. Caden saw the question in his posture. "You wish for complexity," the master said, because complexity hides your impatience. The ego seeks novelty, the spirit seeks depth. Hero lowered into the stance. His feet grounded, his spine lengthened, his hands held the wooden blade with intention. "Good," Caden said. "Now again." Hero repeated it, then again and again. Minutes passed, then an hour. Caden said nothing, only watched, the way the mountain watched, the way silence observed without judgment. At first, Hero was focused, committed, determined to impress, but gradually fatigue crept into his legs. Annoyance surfaced, then boredom, then frustration. He felt the old restlessness rising, the desire to skip steps, to rush ahead, to prove himself through intensity instead of presence. Caden finally broke the quiet. "Tell me, Hero, what do you feel?" Hero exhaled, sweat forming at his temples. "I feel tired, repetitive, like nothing is changing." Caden nodded. "And that feeling," he said, "is the precise boundary where most men quit." The master stepped closer. This path is built not on grand achievements, but on the mastery of ordinary moments repeated with unwavering attention. One stance performed with full presence is worth more than 100 forms performed while dreaming. Hero lowered himself into the stance again, this time slower, more aware. He felt the pressure of the earth beneath his feet, the alignment of bone and breath, the subtle tremor in his core muscles. For the first time, the stance wasn't a task. It was a conversation. Caden watched the shift. "Good," he murmured. "You are beginning to understand the ancient system. A warrior is not shaped by intensity, but by consistency. Unbroken steps carve the path." Hero continued, movement after movement until the repetition dissolved into something deeper, a meditation in motion. His mind quieted. The landscape sharpened. The cold no longer bit at his skin. It was as though his body remembered something older than thought, a way of being rather than a way of performing. Caden finally raised his hand. "Stop." Hero stood still, chest rising, sweat cold on his back. "What you practiced today," Caden said, "was not a stance. It was identity. Every repetition is a vote cast for the man you are becoming." Hero looked at the circle in the dirt, the simple, unimpressive space where transformation had begun. Caden stepped closer, eyes steady. Most people walk the path only when it is new. The warrior walks it especially when it becomes difficult, dull, or quiet. That is where determination becomes eternal. Hero bowed, not out of ritual, but out of respect. He understood now. Mastery was not ahead of him. Mastery was beneath every step he repeated, and the path had only begun to reveal itself. Chapter 4: The Spirit That Does Not Yield the Morning. Hero descended the mountain. The sky was a quiet, cloudless blue, the kind of blue that feels like it's watching. He tightened the cloth wrap around his hands, not because he expected a fight, but because he could feel something shifting inside him, a new steadiness, a new responsibility. Master Caden walked beside him, staff tapping against stone in a slow, measured rhythm. "You have learned presence," Caden said. "You have met your fear, and you have walked the path of unbroken steps. But a warrior's mastery is not proven on the mountain. It is proven in the world, where noise is loud, where ego awakens, where chaos waits to reclaim you." Hero nodded, though his stomach tightened. It was one thing to hold stillness in a temple, another to hold it in the storm of ordinary life. The trail wound downward through forests, humming with cicadas. The closer they came to the foothills, the more the sounds of civilization returned. Distant voices, laughter, the clang of metalwork, the restless pulse of a village living without pause. Caden stopped at a ridge overlooking the valley. "Hero," he said, "your final test is simple." Hero inhaled, ready. "Do nothing extraordinary," Caden continued. "Simply carry your stillness into the world below. If your training was real, it will hold. If not, the world will show you." Hero swallowed. "Sensei, what if I fail?" Caden's gaze was firm but warm. "Failure is not the end. Yielding to fear is." Hero bowed, deeper than before, not from obligation but from gratitude. The master placed a hand briefly on his shoulder. "Return when the mountain calls you back." Then Caden turned, walking into the mist, disappearing the way only men of profound presence can. Hero descended alone. The village below was alive with motion, children chasing each other through alleys, merchants arguing cheerfully, rice boiling in large iron pots. Life, unfiltered, unpredictable, loud. Hiro felt his pulse quicken. Weeks of temple silence made every sound feel sharper, every movement brighter. A small part of him feared losing the stillness he had worked so hard to cultivate. He took a slow breath. Presence is not a location. It is a posture. He walked deeper into the village. People glanced his way, recognizing the robe, the posture, the quiet discipline that clung to him. Some nodded respectfully. Others whispered about the young one from the mountain. But Hiro didn't meet their eyes. He simply observed the rhythm of footsteps, the tension in faces, the hurried pace of villagers rushing through their responsibilities without truly inhabiting them. It felt familiar. This was the world he had lived in before the mountain, a world where people moved quickly, but not deeply. He wondered, had he been the same? Before he could complete the thought, a sharp cry tore through the air. Hiro turned. A cart had overturned near the village well, its wheels shattered, its contents heavy crates, pinning a young boy beneath. People rushed in panic. Voices overlapped. No one took command. Fear spread faster than action. Hiro's breath steadied on instinct. He stepped forward, not with urgency, but with clarity. "Lift the crates on my count," he said, on his voice calm, grounded. 3 men on each side. Move slowly. Do not pull the boy. Free the weight first. Something in his tone cut through the chaos. The villagers obeyed. 1, 2, lift. The crates rose. Hiro slid beneath, easing the boy free with steady hands. The child coughed, shaken but alive. A wave of relief spread through the crowd. Hiro bowed his head slightly, not proud, not triumphant, simply present. At that moment, he realized something profound. The mountain had not changed him so he could escape the world. The mountain had changed him so he could stand inside it unmoved. The boy's mother thanked him through tears, but Hiro simply whispered, "Strength is only real when it serves." He stood, dusted his robe, and felt Caden's teaching pulse within him like a second heartbeat. Chapter 5. Eternal Determination. Evening draped itself across the valley like a slow falling curtain. The village had grown quiet after the day's chaos. Lanterns glowing along narrow streets, smoke from cooking fires rising into the cooling air, cicadas singing their ancient hymn. But Hiro walked alone beyond the village gate where the fields met the foothills. He needed space, not to think, but to listen. The events of the day echoed in his mind: the overturned cart, the frightened villagers, the clarity that rose within him like a tide. Not the confidence of ego, but the steadiness of alignment. He inhaled deeply. The air carried both the fragrance of damp earth and the faint memory of temple incense. Have I truly changed, he wondered, or did I simply act without thinking? A low breeze brushed against his cheek, gentle but insistent, and with it came a sensation Hiro recognized, the mountain's call, not literal, not mystical, but a pull from within. The same pull that brought him here, the same pull that stripped him open before Master Caden, the same pull that demanded honesty at every threshold. He followed the call toward a lone hill overlooking the valley. From its peak he could see everything, the village lanterns flickering like stars. In a bowl of darkness, the temple ridge outlined against the night sky, the mountain itself standing silent, immovable, eternal. As Hiro sat, he felt a shift, subtle but undeniable. The silence around him was not emptiness, it was recognition. Caden had taught him that presence was the first gate, fear was the second, discipline the third. But now a fourth gate opened, a gate he had never known existed, the gate of integration, where lessons stop being teachings and start becoming identity. Hiro closed his eyes. He remembered his first day on the mountain, restless, impatient, overwhelmed by silence. He remembered fear in the dark chamber, the trembling, the doubts, the younger self crying out from the shadows. He remembered the circle in the dirt, step after step until repetition became revelation. And today, he remembered standing in chaos without losing his center. A warmth spread through his chest, not pride, not achievement, it's something deeper, alignment. The voice inside him, once fractured and scattered, now felt unified, like a river that had finally found its course. But the moment was interrupted by hurried footsteps rustling through the grass. A villager approached, breathless. "Master Hiro," the man called, bowing awkwardly. "There's trouble at the East Ridge. A storm has washed out part of the slope. Homes are threatened. We need help. The people, they are afraid." Hiro rose slowly. The title Master felt foreign, not unearned, but unnecessary. Yet he understood why they used it. A man who walks with his spirit unbroken becomes a refuge for those who have not yet found theirs. He nodded. "Take me there." As they walked toward the darkened ridge, the wind grew stronger, harsh, restless, filled with the static of coming rain. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The villagers gathered near the collapsing slope, panic thick in their voices. Water poured in steady streams, wearing at the earth like time itself, tearing through old foundations. Hiro stepped into the center of the chaos, not rushing, not shouting, not commanding with force. He simply arrived, fully, completely. And the atmosphere shifted. Even before he spoke, the storm inside the people softened. Presence is contagious. "Listen," Hiro said, his voice steady as stone. "We move together. We work in rhythm. The mountain teaches that strength is not in fighting nature, but in aligning with it." He instructed some to divert the water, others to reinforce the earth with timber, others to guide families to safer ground. His movements were precise, minimal, rooted in the unbroken steps he had practiced endlessly. The villagers followed, not out of obedience, but trust. Rain intensified, thunder cracked, mud splashed around their feet. But Hiro did not yield. He breathed through the storm, through the fear, through the old instinct to doubt himself. Every breath held Caden's lessons. Every movement carried the memory of the mountain's stillness. Hours passed, and slowly the ridge stabilized. Relief swept through the villagers like a warm wave. Hiro stood beneath the fading rain, soaked, exhausted, unwavering. In that moment, he realized determination is not the fire that pushes you forward. It is the grounding that keeps you from being swept away. He exhaled, long, steady, complete. The spirit within him did not tremble. It did not question. It simply was, unyielding, aligned, eternal. He had become what he once sought, not a warrior of technique, but a warrior of presence. A man whose spirit could not be moved. And above him, hidden in the mist, the mountain watched. If Hiro's journey spoke to something inside you, don't let it fade. Hit subscribe, like this video, and comment. I choose eternal determination. This channel, Presence and Purpose, is for those who refuse to live soft. Walk the path with us, step by step, like the mountain.